Check one, two, check one, two. Make sure my mic is on here. Check one, two, check one, two. Do a quick check before we get. There we go. All right. Very good. Very good. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, everyone, wherever you may be in the world today. I am Mike B. Swancentric Media Talks live with Mike B. And tonight is a show that I was on the fence as to did I really want to do this show without doing a deep dive, you know, and we'll talk about, the whole premise behind the feeding the machine topic. But I felt that if I didn't do this show tonight, that I would be putting it off for several more days. So salute. Um, Little shot of Hennessy there, just to get the nerves going. And tonight's show, feeding the machine. What is this topic all about? This topic tonight is about what everyone has been talking about, and it has to do with um, this term that has been coined recently. Some people call it black fatigue. It's been all over social media on so many platforms. It started with most recently the incidents on the cruise ships, etc. Um, with rules and regulations being enforced on cruise ships because of all the fights, incidents, takeover type scenarios that have been happening on cruise ships, fights, just all kinds of things on social media. And this term "black fatigue" has been coined. I'm not going to use that term tonight. I am a black man, and I'm not going to use that. And I don't subscribe to it or even co-sign it. However, I will use the term tonight. Um, um, I will use the term tonight. I'm going to actually switch over here. Um, I will use the term tonight. Cultural cultural shaming. Cultural shaming, and that's nothing more than uh, a politically correct word for this term that's been coined. And I will talk about that. But before I dive into that, what do I mean by cultural shaming? So um, I've noticed that the majority of the content that has been on social media has been cell phone footage from incidents that have been happening all over, but most um, from an official perspective, there's been this uptick, an explosion of police body cam footage. It's all over YouTube. It's all over the internet. And believe it or not, my belief, and I'm talking about my belief, is the catalyst that has been driving the majority of this quote unquote black fatigue or what I call cultural shaming. Had the main catalyst has been the police body cam footage. Now, the police body cam footage thing is relatively new, even though for I used to work in law enforcement myself, and before body cam footage came about, we used micro mini cassette recorders. That was before the cameras came out, and we would always use those as a way to protect ourselves if we were in sort of some type of engagement with the public, a traffic stop or an enforcement stop of sorts. And if you felt that it was going to go a certain way where um, it, the person was not being compliant, you would hit the button. As soon as you hit that button on the recorder, and you know you let the person know, sir, ma'am, this encounter is being recorded. That person would automatically just kind of fall in line, and there would be um, um, no, you didn't have to worry about someone saying that you did something, or they did something to you. It was like the great regulator. The recording mechanism was the great regulator. It kept things in order. So fast forward 20, 30 years later, it's all on camera now. But that type of those mechanisms have been around for a long time. The 90s, the early 90s. So, and I believe a lot of that came out right after the George Floyd incident in 19, not George Floyd, but Rodney King in 1991. So, it's very important to have these tools to be able to record encounters. Here's the situation, though. The police body cam footage recordings have been flipped to say, okay, we're going to take these recorders and put them on Front Street now. We're going to put them on social media. So now it's almost like a chess game. It's like, okay, you say I did this, you say I did this, you say I did this. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to be totally transparent. We're going to be totally candid about how we interact with the public, and we're going to take all this footage and put it on the internet. So now the dynamic has changed, and 90% of the footage that you see from body cam footage are African Americans in fights, tearing up restaurants, flash mobs, police encounters, being irate with police officers. 90% of that content now is being put on the internet from body cam footage. So what they've done was, if this was a game of chess, they said, okay, we're gonna make a chess move. We're gonna take this body cam footage and now put you on blast. So we're gonna institute cultural shaming. So the body cam footage, self in conjunction with cell phone footage, because everyone has a camera on their phone, also plays a role as well. But the majority of the negative encounters that you see upon the police body cam footage is very negative and has to do with people of color. I hate to want to say it that way, but that's exactly the way it is. So let's talk a little bit about um, the cultural shaming aspect of things. So cultural shaming in the social media age, hence the term, you're feeding the machine. You're feeding the social media mechanism. You're feeding the social media beast so that everyone now can see everything that's happening in the palm of their hand. Let's see what the impact of that. Let's understand. Let's take an understanding of what the purpose of cultural shaming is all about. Cultural shaming refers to a societal mechanism where individuals are motivated to conform to social norms through the fear of public what? Humiliation or ostracism. It's a system where where social disapproval and the potential for shame act as a powerful enforcement tool for behavior. That is a very powerful statement there. What we're going to do is we're going to take your behavior, put it on blast, put it on Front Street, and show the whole world what you're all about. Now, there, there. I have a theory. I have a theory, and that theory is based on my own experience as a person of color. Okay, and that is, if you're put on blast, if you're put in a situation where your behavior is put out there on the internet, and you put in front of an audience. In other words, you're compelled you're compelled to change. It's a form of punishment where you're compelled to change because you have everybody looking at you saying, "I can't believe this. I can't believe you're this way. I can't believe you this way," and then you change to not be that way. And that's what I believe, that the psychology behind understanding the premise of social shaming is. It is to correct your behavior in a very immoral and twisted way, but that's the premise behind it. I'll give you an example, and I'm putting myself on blast right now. When I was 17 years old, and I had ventured out from where I from my family, and I was on the other side of the country because I'm originally from the east. Now on the west, and I was acting out like crazy. I was wilding out like crazy, and and I was younger than most of the people that I was trying to hang out with. So of course I was trying to prove that I could be a part of that clique. And I had an elder approach me at one time and said, "You see those idiots over there? You want to hang out with them? You mean to tell me that those guys over there know more than you? They're actually able to learn more than you, perform more than you, and they're doing drugs. They're doing all kinds of illegal stuff. You mean to tell me that they're better than that that you um fall into that category? You want to be a part of that, and you can't be anything better than that?" And when they told me that, the very first thing that I said to myself as a 17-year-old, and granted, these were 25, 26, 27-year-old older adults, I said, "No, I'm 17 years old, and how they're behaving is not the way I was raised, or not even in my mindset." And it was like a light bulb that came on and said, "You're right. Why am I trying to be like that when I should be like how I want to be?" And but so by him he put me on blast in front of a bunch of other people, saying, "You want to be like that? Is that you?" And I said, "No, that's not me." And I changed. It was like a light bulb came on, and I actually became the person that I am today because of that little conversation of being. Nowadays they would have said, "Well, you should have pulled me back. You should have pulled me back in the back and told me that, instead of putting me on blast in front of everybody." Nowadays, everything's politically correct now. You get called in for HR for have that type of conversation now because you put that person on blast. But I am so glad that that person put me on blast, because that shame that I felt corrected my behavior immediately. So I understand that because I've been in that situation before. Um, but let's get back to the topic on hand. So understanding it, it's a powerful enforcement tool to point out your behavior. Let's go correct. Social media, now from a social media aspect, because everything is social media driven these days. Um, um, the outrage generation. You're seeing this term, and again, I won't use the term black fatigue anymore. I just used it, but I'll say cultural. Um, um, this cultural shaming situation. Influencers, the people that are on social media, including the police body cam influencers, and I'm going to name a couple others in just a bit, create the content that provokes a strong emotional response through the targeted shaming. So they're creating this content to create a strong emotional response from the audience that's watching it. You know, I don't know how true this is, but I keep hearing it here and there on the internet. They say it was a quote from the late Doors singer Jim Morrison, where he quoted, "He who controls the media controls minds." I don't know who actually coined that term. I don't know if he actually did it, but I think that's kind of true. If you're able to manipulate the media by creating um, these situations where you are creating this culture of cultural shaming, that you can control people and influence. minds. From a reinforcement perspective, success incentivizes creators to produce more content shaming content. So if I go viral, if I go viral or the content creator goes viral from posting a video of someone getting their butt kicked by the police, or getting arrested, or tearing up a restaurant, or tearing up a McDonald's, or tearing up a cruise ship, that boosts their ratings on social media. So it incentivizes them to be more successful from a social media perspective because of your behavior. So you're feeding the machine. Uh, we don't want to do that. And of course, the algorithm picks that up and pushes their content to the top because they know that's what people want to see. So, and of course, if you're monetized or demonetized, I know some people can be demonetized, but for the most part, you can make money from your behavior. And so there's that. I want to talk. So the police body cam influencer aspect of things, basically what they're doing is they're using public law, the law, to say this footage is for the public to see, like a court case. Any type of police filing, any type of court case it's all public record. So that's why it's out there in the ether, in the internet, because it's all a part of public record. So it does not it doesn't hurt the agency unless they unless there's an egregious violation, which is a situation that happened a couple of days ago. Well, no, back in February. That's recently coming out now, and I'll show you a clip of that. But for the most part, if the police officer is just doing their job, but you're acting out, but they're just doing their job, following the law, um, they can put that out, and of course, it makes you look bad. Because they're saying, well, the cop is just doing the job. You have no reason to be acting this way. So again, it really helps them. It helps social media. It helps the audience. It helps the agency, but it does not do any justice for you. You're feeding the machine. So that's the police body camera. But here are a couple of people. I'm going to mention this person, Jesse Lee Peterson. Um, I listen to his podcast every morning on YouTube, and Jesse, I like him, but I don't like him. I like I like him because he talks about things that kind of make sense, but he uses these expressions. He uses these expressions, and he's from Alabama, and he uses these expressions like how black people just tear up stuff. Black people are all about destruction, and he uses these expressions like he black and he's just being black, and he makes black to be to be a negative thing on his podcast. It's entertainment, and I believe that he's using this psychology of cultural shaming to correct a wrong, to make it right. He's using the reverse psychology of cultural shaming to say black people do better, and I believe he's using that psychology in doing that, by doing what he does, by talking negative about black, by talking negative, he's trying to trigger positive by talking negative. That's the psychology behind that. And another person also does that. I don't think he's as prominent as he used to be. That's Tommy Sotomayor, who's like almost like the godfather of this type of method of operation. Lily Gaddis, she's on fire right now on social media. I listen to her content. Lily is a self-proclaimed racist, but she uses racism from a perspective of, yes, I'm racist. I'm racist because see how you act. I'm a racist because see how you act. And she posts videos online of people acting up on police body cam footage, cruise ships, fights, on TikTok videos, Instagram videos. So she takes those videos and she dissects them. She analyzes them. She posts them, and now she's saying, "Okay, now you see why I'm a racist because of this." So she takes the fact that your behavior in a social setting, um, that's being fed to the social media machine. She takes that and weaponizes it for her platform. So again, this is another social media influencer who takes your behavior, takes the things that you do, and weaponizes it against you. There's a moral to that. And then there's a psychological impact. This is just a quick study of those who are on social media and they see specifically like the police body cam video. There's an anxiety aspect that plays in part of that when you see, when you know that information, that content that you have on the internet, it increases your anxiety level by 71%. You're 6.2 times more likely to go into a depressive state. Of course, it affects your employment because if you're on social media, wilding out on social media, crashing out on social media, there's a 47% chance that you can lose your job. It can affect your job, and other things like that, and things of that nature. So the moral to the, and of course there's some ethical considerations, but we're not going to talk about that. I do want to go back and just talk about how you're feeding the machine. Lily Gaddis, um, uh, uh, what's his name? Jesse Lee, police body cam video, all other influencers out there wouldn't have the fuel for the fire unless you are doing and committing these um, acts that are being posted on social media. The moral to the story is please be a law abiding citizen. Please do what's right. Please don't try to get over. Please don't try to scam. Please try to live a righteous life because at some point these things are going to catch up to you, and at some point people are going to take your downfall, take your negative outcome, weaponize that negative outcome, and create a firestorm that says, see, all these people are like this and we're not that. So don't allow, so in order to remove that stereotype, to remove those misconceptions, is to not do it. You have to have fuel for the fire. You have to be able to throw gasoline on a fire for a fire to grow. If you don't have fuel, then there's no fire. That's the moral to this live stream. We have to do better. People of color, people of all, people of no color, people, anyone. Um, you know, don't be a target so that someone can take your whatever. Because we all have low spots in our life. We all do. Don't put yourself in a situation where you take that low spot, that low point in your life, and have someone to weaponize it and put it on social media and say, okay, you see, they'll get monetized by it. You'll go through all kinds of other depressive states, maybe lose your job, and maybe be stigmatized because of social media, feeding the social media machine. Now, before I close out, I do want to talk just briefly about the situation that actually I'm not going to go that far into it, but just briefly, I won't even play those videos. But here's the thing: I am a father of two black um, young adults, and they live in California, and they live, in an area that's hot. When I say hot, there's police activity, there's crime, there are gangs, they're all over the place. Just over the weekend, some guy plowed through 20 or 30 people in downtown LA, which is not that far from here. So there's always shenanigans happening. So I have, I have two young sons that can be in a situation where they're giving a friend a ride, or they're just hanging out having a hamburger, or they're at Cane's, or they're at In and Out, or they're at McDonald's, whatever, and they get caught up in a situation. Here's the thing: if you don't have time to go to jail, if you don't have time to go to court, if you don't have time to pay fines, if you don't have time to be fighting people, if you don't have time to do all that because you have to work, you have to go to school, you have to support your family. That means if you don't have time to do all that BS because you have other priority things to do, when you get pulled over, just comply. Do what the officer asks you to do. Don't be running your mouth. Don't be asking a ton of questions. Don't be keep your hands on the wheel. Don't do anything crazy. Don't do anything suspicious. And get out of the situation. Take the ticket. Take the ticket. Say thank you, officer, and keep it pushing. You can, because in the field with the police officer, you're not going to win. You're not going to fight anything. You're not going to get away from anything. You're not going to get away. You're not going to fight. You're not going to do anything but go to jail. In the whole purpose of jail is to sit you down, chill you out. Okay, and if you got that type of time to kill, then do it. But if you don't have that type of time because you're too busy living life, then comply with the officer, do what he asks you to do, get your ticket, keep it pushing, and then take care of it in court when you go to court. And 90% of the time, the judge is going to be in favor of you than the officer, because if you comply. But if you don't comply, you want to fight, then the charges will stack up. Okay. The whole purpose of an officer when he pulls you over for an infraction, let's say your tail light is out, your light is out, or whatever, is to build a case on other things that he sees that are what they call quote unquote incident to the situation. Meaning that I didn't pull you over for drugs. I didn't pull you over because I smell marijuana. I didn't pull you over because I saw a firearm. I pulled you over because you had a busted tail light. When I approached your vehicle and I looked into your vehicle, in my plain view, I saw drugs, a weapon, or something that was illegal. From that situation is how things get blown up. So he's not going to pull you over for felony or anything like that. He's going to pull you over to get into to get into your vehicle to see what you got going on based on an infraction. So don't give the officer that fuel to do that. You get pulled over, comply, keep your hands on the wheel, give him your registration, give him your license. You take your ticket and say, thank you, officer. Please have a wonderful night and keep it pushing. With that, I'm going to close this live stream out. I look forward to the next live stream. And thank you. And